That one. No. So what is the now some problems related to RLC circuit? Both RLC, all three elements, resistor, inductor, capacitor will be there. A T code 0 or capacitor BOS. BOS has short circuit and inductor has open circuit. A T code infinity, capacitor has open circuit and inductor has short circuit. There may be numericals related to this idea based on this information. So you have to just replace them where all capacitor short circuit, open circuit and carry on the problem. Okay, let's get into the numericals. There's the information I'm giving. Some 2-3 problems we'll discuss based on this information. The ratio of energy stored in capacitor inductor is expressed in steady state. A steady state. So where all capacitor, I should put open circuit. So the now where there is a capacitor branch is there, no current will flow in that one. No? So then we do have a circuit like this. This is R. This is a capacitor. And this is the inductor. There's a resistor 2R. And here is what the inductor. Write it here. So this is 2R. This is R. And 2R. And this is the EMF. So what to calculate potential drop across AB will be the drop across capacitor. We'll get the steady state charge and what current flows through the this branch here. So that will be the current through the inductor. Able to make it out? That's the simplest idea. So here capacitor is there. Here an inductor is present. Now how to get that VAB? So here no current will flow in this branch. No current will flow in this branch. What about here? A current will flow here. So let's analyze 2R and R. How it will be? They are parallel, no? Because of this inductor. Effect will be R. R and R, 2R. 2R, R. So what is the total current that will pass through here? I'll write it high here. Now what is the total current? This current will be E by R. This current. So this current now will branch it, no? How do I can say that? Because this will be effective of these two 2R and R will be R. And that R will be in series. So what would be with capacitors? Open circuit, need not to bother. I'll draw one more circuit showing. Don't bother about the inductor capacitor. Remove. Let's not bother here. So look at only this circuit. Definitely you can now there's a current I. This current I should branch out equally. And after this current will further branch out I by 4. So how much of current small I looking at this should be equal to I by 4. So this will be E by 4R. Now write the loop equation. Now let's calculate the energy across the inductor. Energy across the inductor is steady state. What should be the formula? L I square by 2. L by 2 E by 4R. So L E square by 32R. Then energy across the capacitor. We for that we know we should know the potential difference VAB. And the current here, how much it will be? Same I only. So give polarity plus minus plus minus. Write the potential drop VAB. VA minus I by 2R minus I into 2R minus VB equal to 0. I is E by, this is E by 2. VAB is equal to E. So then what is the charge across capacitor? Q should be equal to C into VAB is equal to CE. Then what is the energy stored across the capacitor? UC infinity should be equal to Q square by 2C. C square by 2. It's asking the ratio of energy stored in capacitor to that across the inductor. So dividing these two. This is again very important for the advanced. I'm telling this one. Though it appears very simple, you do get very good number of questions. So you need not to bother anything. Just like what earlier you did in capacitor, no, the similar method what you can apply it.
With 32 R square.
R square. Yeah. Answer will be 4. For 4 just 16 it is. Sir, I don't know EMF induced. I don't know mutual self-inductance. I don't know Faraday's law. I think all those things not required no here, especially inductor. A steady state short circuit finish or calculate the current. So some RL, RC and LC. Though you don't know concept of Faraday's law, nothing, still you can manage. There are some numericals of these kind are there. You have to be careful. And they are very popular for advance. Okay, take one more. Just after closing switch, just after opening switch. I think we have to really make out this problem. Just after closing the switch is long after closing the switch. T equal to 0, T equal to infinity is asking. So first let's go for just after closing the switch. Initially, will there be any possibility of any charge across the capacitor? Initial charge, is it possible? As this branch is open, so no question of any current flowing through the cell. So no question of any initial charge or initial current across the inductor. There's nothing like that. Agreed? So therefore, initial charge will not be there, that one. So based on that, it will be. So just after closing. So how where all inductor is there, I'll replace with a open circuit. Then there's a resistor, R3. Capacitor should be short circuit. Then this is a resistor, R2. And this is R1. So how much of current will be there? So now what is the path of the current? So current, it will encounter these two resistors, they are in series. They are in series and they are shorted no here. So what is the effective? The current will in fact will flow only in this branch. I. So what is the current is asking? Current in R3 in the shown circuit. Where is R3? R3. No current will flow. So I is equal to E by R3. I is equal to E by R1. So let's keep it here. E by R1. And what is the current R3? Will be 0. So just after closing the switch is 0. I'll pick up this option. next again, at t equal to infinity. At t equal to infinity. What I should do with inductor, where all inductor is there, I should replace with a short circuit, and where all capacitor there, there's an open circuit. Now, okay, this is R2. Check for any possibility of any current flowing through any path. So let's see the current here. There's a path available for the current to flow. And what will happen to R3? You look at the R3. It will be shorted, no, here. So the current will take path like this. No current will flow through R3, no also. So the current I. Here what happened? It is having a zero resistance path like this. No current will pass through R3. So now also what is I? I is equal to E by R1 only. This is not
R1 plus
answered.
R2, sir.
R1 plus R2. Yeah. So shall I pick up? I'll give one more question. Then we'll wind up this numericals of this kind. Take the I'll draw the diagram. No use of such things practically, just for to trouble students in exam. All some what I am given, all these are meaningless questions, practically no application. Why do I'll connect like this? Just only to check the students' ability to analyze things. Find the current through the cell at t equals 0 and at t equal to infinity. So straight away at t equals 0, where all inductor is there open circuit, where capacitor is short circuit. So here we have inductor, open circuit, capacitor, short circuit. Try to see, no. So this will be one wire will come. Here this resistor R will be shorted. And this capacitor, what it will do? It will short all the resistors, no, except this R. So what should be the current? Current will be only, current will flow like this here. There won't be any flow of current to this. So why can't current will branch? The current wants to branch. It's a short circuit path is available, no? So the current will take only this particular path. I. This will be shorted, no problem. So this will be shorted. You bring one short circuit here. This will be R by 2. R shorted and 3R by 2. And again, all these resistors what happen will be shorted by this Y. So current will be only I equal to E by R. Now, similarly, let's go for a T equal to infinity. Where capacitor is there, so there should be open circuit. Where inductor is there, short circuit. Again, similar condition. So this will be shorted, no? This resistor will be shorted. Instead of resistor, they'll give bulb. So here's what the trouble starts. So bulb means, again, don't think anything. It's a similar to resistor, no? Which bulb will glow, which bulb will not glow. The types of questions. So instead of resistor R, I can connect a bulb. I'll ask you which bulb will have maximum brightness, which will glow, which will not glow. So any best questions can be asked for you know. So again the same problem. So the what all current is there will take the low resistance path. So there's a low resistance path available. The current, no current will flow in remaining other. This resistor will be shorted. This will be open. R by 2. 3R by 2 will come in this one. So but still the effective. So I'll draw the circuit. So it will appear like this. If you simplify, this will be R by 2. Effective will be 3R by 2. Sorry, this R and this will be. So definitely this 3R by 2 also will be shorted. No, the same similar diagram will appear again for this. So what is the overall current? The current has to take path like this. Now you should not see like is asking object, you know, you should not do like this. So I don't know some students what will happen for you in exam. They'll assume current here I1, I2, I3, I4, I5, I6, solve it, then put T equal to infinity or T equal to 0. Directly, you know, basic idea, capacitor short circuit, inductor open circuit at T equals 0, T equal to infinity, capacitor open circuit, inductor short circuit, and carry on. No need of bringing mathematically here. I'll write expression for current through the cell at any time t. There I'll put T equal to 0. 1 hour, if they give time for this question alone, okay, think like that. Only 2-3 minutes, no, maximum you should wind up. Some questions, big circuit will be there. Just capacitor, inductor, replace with suitable equivalent diagram and get into the problem. At any time, if they ask you, okay, there's another way, but it's asking T equals 0, T equals 10. So straight away, replace with that suitable things and carry on. So at T equals 0, T equals infinity, the current through the cell will be same. So they'll ask you, what is the power dissipated by the cell? The moment switch is, the cell is switched on and after long time, it'll be same. E into I or E square R. Okay, now take this. In the circuit shown in figure, R equal to under root of L by C. Switch S is closed at time t equals 0. The current through C and L would be equal after a time t equal to. There's a one RL circuit is there, other side is RC circuit is there. Now what is the current here? Let it be I1. In the diagram only I'll write it. Then what is I1 is equal to? That should be equal to V by R e to power of minus TRC. I2 is equal to, this will be 1 minus e to power of minus TR by L. And where all R we can write it as under root of L by C later on that one. After time t, at any time t, this is the equation I'm writing. So can you remember this charging current? Expression for charging current. And there's a growth of current through the RL circuit. So he's asking would be equal. So I'll equate this to I1 is equal to I2. V by R. Is it okay? Lambda T by lambda, I should write lambda is L by R. Here time constant for RC circuit will be RC. So this V by R get eliminated. So e to power of, so bring on to this side, e to power of minus T by RC plus e to power of minus TR by L. This should be equal to 1. It's asking that particular time. Any mathematics exponential one?
L equal to CR square.
L is equal to CR square. Huh?
From the given equations.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that L is equal to, I'll do one thing. Yeah, I'll take help of this. So that I'll substitute. T by RC. So R by L is equal
Option
to
D, sir.
option D. Yeah, LR it will come. Yeah, fine. So L is equal to RC square.
R square C, sir.
R square C. Is equal to 1. So this should be 2 e to power of minus TRC is equal to 1. RC log 2. So there's a time at which it will be equal. You can calculate also current to the battery at this particular time. So you know value of T, substitute, you'll get even this current also. Some books they have asked this I also, you can find out. What is I? I should be equal to I1 plus I2. Or 2I1, and we know I1. So let's take this simplified equation, 2V by R. Substitute the value of T there, solve it, you'll get the expression for the current.
V by R.
Only V by R. At that particular instant of time, at this instant of time. Nothing to do that one, just some troublesome for you.
At all instances, it is V by R only, sir.
Okay. This T will equal to some constant, no? Yeah, fine. So a constant current will flow, provided if R equal to under root of L by C. Am I right? No need of any, I have never seen any application of circuits of like this, just only to trouble students with this one, because we know current through the each branch is varying. How come current through the cell will be constant? Because of this condition. Otherwise, here also current will be variable. but the way they're given relation between R, L, and C, because of that, it remains constant. Because very generalized idea, current in both the branches will be varying. So naturally, what we think here, current should be variable. But because of this condition R equal to under root of L by C, it remains constant. Okay, let's take the read the question. There is this is the core. So why do we bring core? Let's have some small discussion. So let's go back to the self-inductance of a solenoid. We have determined expression. If you can remember the self-inductance of solenoid. So there's a air core. Inside open, there's an air gap is there. So what is the self-inductance of this? Mu naught n square S by L. Is it okay? Self-inductance of this solenoid. Now, in this solenoid, if I fill up a iron rod, what is iron rod? Iron rod is a ferrite material. So basically, what we do, how do I construct? So what I do is I will take iron rod. Then I'll give insulating coating on it. I'll give insulating coating on it. Then I'll wound a copper wire. Then between each turn again, a gap should be there. How do I bring a gap? I'll bring insulating material. Like that, I'll very closely wound because no flux should escape from the gaps. So therefore, they'll be closely wound. Each turn will be in contact. So if you just hold the pen with your fingers, no, with your fist, that one, you close it, that one. So then the gap between the fingers will be zero, but the two fingers will be in contact. So how to avoid short circuit? I'll put a insulating coating between the fingers. Then what happen? Though they're in contact, what happen? Insulating layer will prevent the short circuit here. So that's what happens. First, iron is a conductor. Copper wire is a conductor. What I do? I'll take iron. First, I'll take an iron cylinder. I'll give insulating coating. Then I'll wound a copper wire. After wounding every turn, I'll give insulating coating. Then again next turn, again insulating coating between the wires. So like that, I'll get a solenoid. What is the advantage of this? This is a iron core. The green color rod is a iron core, that one. So what is the mu r value of for iron? It will be of around 2 lakhs. Means the self-inductance, if I bring iron core, it will increase by 2 lakh times. Now what is the self-inductance? It will become mu r mu naught n square by L. So why do we prefer the iron core or ferrite rod? It is also called as iron core, or this is also called as ferrite rod. Ferrite material, the iron is nothing but ferrite, no? This will be. So it will increase by mu r times, and mu r will be very large for ferrite materials, especially for iron, cobalt, nickel, no? Mu r will be almost around 2 lakhs. For cobalt, it will come around 2000. For nickel, it will come around 200. So the iron core is widely preferred to increase the self-inductance of the solenoid. Is that okay? No? So there's the purpose of why do we bring the rod? That's called as a core. This one. Okay, let's come for this one. Now there is it's a steady state is there. I'll remove this. If I remove this iron core, what will happen to current through the circuit? That is being asked here. So initially current I is flowing. So just after removal, it's a rough diagram. Just is showing the rough diagram. Now, what do you expect the current through the solenoid? So now, earlier there was some flux. Flux I'll show by some yellow color. It will be easy for us. So there'll be a flux. So what is this yellow color? Yellow color is a flux. That one. There'll be a flux, no? Now, when you remove this iron core suddenly, what will happen to magnetic flux? It cannot disappear, no? The flux will be retained as it is. How much of flux here? I'll give symbol, this what? The same flux will be there. Flux cannot change abruptly. The flux cannot change up because what is the flux? Flux equal to B into S. So therefore the flux will remain constant. Flux linking the coil, flux linking the solenoid remains constant. We have a basic definition. What is the flux? Flux equal to L into I. So initial flux equal to final flux. So initially it was Li into current I. I'll write I1. It'll be easy for us to. L1 I1, now L2 I2. Okay, now when you remove so mu r, what do we expect? No, so we wanted expression for I2, no, so let it be L1 I1 by L2. Earlier L1 was greater than L2 because it is having, so L1 is mu r times of L and L2 is only L, no. Please do compare. There's the initial with iron core, it will have more self-inductance, mu r times of L. It will be so. Now L1 by L2, how much it should be? L1 by L2, it will be only mu r, and mu r will be greater than 1. So therefore I2 greater than I1. Like similar to, go back to capacitors, some dielectric slab removed, similar to that idea, but here little bit we have to be careful. We can't just bring because the flux concept is little bit complicatedly related, no. So we don't go for inextensively the problems here, just only simple ideas we're trying to discuss here, no. So when the solenoid in that iron core, if you remove, self-inductance will decrease. If you insert iron core, self-inductance will increase. The flux abruptly, I'm using word abruptly, means suddenly, cannot vanish. The flux linking the solenoid will remain same. Okay, the same similar idea I'm linking with this. Okay, this is the inductance L, and this is 2L. So we have a switch. So this is the switch is at initially position 1. So any current will flow in the circuit. So let it be I naught. And it is at steady state. So what is I naught? I naught should be equal to E by R. Now the switch is suddenly moved from position 1 to position 2. Now find the current in circuit as a function of time. This is a resistor R. This is the inductance 2L. This L. This is at T equals 0. I am drawing this circuit. After some time T will come later on. The moment I move the switch from position 1 to 2, that instant of time is what? T equals 0. What will happen here? We have to analyze here first what conditions will prevail here. Then I know, okay, there's the initial current flowing, then I'll proceed further, the writing equations. Now there was a flux, no? There's a flux. Now when you move the switch from 1 to 2, then this inductance will get added up to the circuit, no, here, and that will be added up in series. So what happened to the flux? Flux cannot change abruptly, no. So what all this flux is there? Flux linking the coil shouldn't. So it will be like this. The same flux, amount of flux will be shared by both. What all flux was present, that will be shared by both here. So here I'll call this flux as phi, and that flux let me we are doing some, you can say almost some loss will be there, when you the moment you move switch from 1 to 2 open, there'll be some loss. We are doing, you can say, almost like a ideal case. What was the flux in the coil 1? Now the flux what happened will be shared by both, and the flux what happened should be conserved here. So what was the initial flux? L into I naught. Now what will happen? A current will flow. I'll call that as I naught we chosen symbol. No? Find the current, any symbol. Let me write. Small I naught, I'll write it. Again, you'll confuse. I1, I'll write it. No problem. Okay, I1. I'll go for I naught. So this should be equal to how much? Flux linking. This will be L into I naught plus 2L into I naught. You have to show that I naught here also. L get cancelled. So therefore that I naught should be equal to I naught by 3, or I naught is equal to E by. So this much of current will be flowing initially. Then after any instant of time, current, let it be I. So what is the expression for current? But you should take care that initial conditions. No? So write down the equation for this. So this will be plus minus plus C minus IR minus 3L di by dt. Shall I add up? They are in series, equal to 0. There in the limits you put at t equals 0, the initial current is I naught, and get expression for current at any time t. So this, after solving, we'll get this is E minus IR equal to 3L di by dt. E by R minus I is equal to 3L by R di by dt. Or di is equal to E by R minus I dt by 3L by R. Here you substitute that at t equals 0, what was the current? I naught. At any time, let it be I. Later on, as we learn mutual inductance, and there's a slowly some problems I'm introducing. Later on, we'll learn mutual inductance. There you can see that. So what happens if I bring parallel? Things are a little bit very complicated. Now, solve this. This will be log of E by R, I by minus T by 3L by R. Okay, simplification of this will be E by R minus I is equal to E by R minus I naught e to power of minus lambda, I'll write it. So where lambda is time constant of circuit, 3L by R. Now this further simplification of this will be E by R minus E by R minus I naught. Now what is I naught value? E by 3R. 2E by 3R. So this will be, we can't take it.
Minus di by dt.
What happened?
Current will decrease, will take minus. From where did you get minus signs?
Due to integration, no?
Yes, sir.
So this is the expression for the current in the circuit here, no? Okay, so you have to just suddenly when you bring, say, like a capacitor connected to another capacitor, these are things. So here what when the charge of two plates were considered, no, similar, the the idea of flux will come into picture. I don't think so in advance they'll go for any very complex situation, because if I bring another inductor parallel, no, things are very complicated. It's not that easy the way we are thinking. One of the simple cases is what we have information here. Slowly when we learn series parallel, you get some basic picture. So this, I think the overall concept, flux linking the coils remains constant. Means the flux is conserved. I'll write it nearby here. Nearby question, I'll write it. Flux is conserved. Now I'll one more good situation is there. Read the, get into the problem. It's asking for the steady state current through the inductors. First, in the first diagram, you manage. Looking at the first diagram, write the equations. A steady state, we do replace inductor with a short circuit. So I'll directly come for with the current at steady state. We are discussing everything at t equal to infinity, not at any time t. So what is I1? Directly straight away, I think we can write it. I1 is equal to. Now, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
The mic position was different. Huh? So what is I1? I1 is equal to E by R1. So what is the best way? So let's draw the equivalent circuit. The equivalent circuit will be where all inductor is there, short circuit. Where all inductor is there, short circuit. This R1, this R2. So how much of current will flow here? I1. Here current will be flowing is I2. So what is I1 from straight away from diagram? I1 is E1 by R. Sorry, E by R1. And what about I2? E by R2. These are the steady state currents at T equal to infinity. Let's come for here. So what I should do here, the inductors I'll replace with a short circuit. Then two short circuits, how to divide that current equally in both the short circuits. The current will divide. And they're ideal. Huh? These inductors are ideal. Ideal means no resistance. Only they allow self-inductance. Before replacing with, sorry, only told at T equal to infinity will replace with a short circuit. I'll replace with two short circuits. You look at once, let's write the current at any time T. Let's write some equation, we'll see what do we get. Let the current here be I. Then I'll write the loop equation plus C minus IR minus L di1 by dt equal to 0. Across the first inductor, across the second inductor plus C minus IR, this is L1, no? L1, L2 di2 by dt. Equating these two, I'll end up L1 di1 by dt equal to L2 di2 by dt. dt I'll cancel out. L1 di1 is equal to L2 di2. Integrating. So what is the current? 0 to I1, I2. So L1 I1 is equal to L2 I2. And what is that I1 I2? Should be equal to, after long time also, where all that inductor is there, I'll replace short circuit. Let it be, no problem. This is a hypothetical problem because we'll never get inductor with ideal. I think you must able to understand just on paper. These I. So what is I is equal to I1 plus I2 from KCL. Then with this we'll get I1, I2. This will be substituting this equation here. I is equal to I1. This will be L1 I1 by L2. So I1 is equal to L2I by L1 plus L2. Similarly, what is I2? I2 is equal to L1I by L1 plus L2. I'll ask you how much of energy present in each inductors. L1 I1 square by 2, L2 I2 square by 2. You can calculate also that energies at steady state. So what's wrong? You replace short circuit, then two short circuit wires. I'll write I by 2, I by 2. No, you can't do like that. That replacing short circuit is a method we have brought it. Try to understand. So don't try to generalize everything. So you only said short circuit I by 2, I by 2. But look at the KVL or the concept what it tells. The currents in fact will be different. Making observation. I think rather than just head bent on generalization, we must try to analyze once. So how do I come to know in exam? It's better to, rather than that shortcut methods, it's better to stick onto the traditional method. What is the traditional method? Writing loop equation. If there is only one loop, one inductor is there, straightforward. But when there are two inductors are there, no, it's better to think like this rather than straight away replacing short circuit work. But you did here, I think it's quite clear. Here you write equation like this, you can see that the current I1 is independent of L2. The current I2 is independent of L1 because this is one R1, L1 is there. This will be very troublesome for students only. So there's nothing called like a one general rule so that you can apply everywhere. So slightly open, situation to situation, it will be different. So altogether, what is the basic like a idea of the, or what is the basic general rule is, write KVL, apply KCL and analyze the problem. So you'll be on safer side. At t equal to infinity. So you can also calculate the energy stored in the coils. Okay, no, let's come. So it's a more than one loop. We have picked up a circuit. Can you remember in the capacitor circuits, more than one loop? Similarly, what happens, you can get more than one loop circuits. And it's a previous advanced question. So we'll work out the problem here. This is the, he has brought that switcher. That switch is very important. He is going to open and close the switch. This is resistor R1. I'll do one thing. One resistor, I'll bring it here also. Again, why to do one more separate problem? I'm introducing one more resistor in the circuit. So this is R2, this L, this R1. How you solve this problem? R3 if you want. R3, let R3 be equal to say like a 3 ohm. Let's get into this one. So here, what is the method? So let the current here be I. Let the current here be I1. Let the current here be I2, and let the current here be I. I is equal to I1 plus I2. Then polarity plus minus. I'll treat inductor as circuit element. Write down the loop equation. So here I1 is what? Current that is flowing through the inductor. That you have to keep in mind. So let's write the equation. So plus C minus L di1 by IR3 minus L di1 by dt minus I1 R2 equal to 0. Symbols, let me take accordingly. We can't integrate, no, because I and I2 is there. So I should be eliminated. So I'll write one more loop equation here. I and I2 is there, no. So I'll write loop equation of plus C I is equal to I1 plus I2. So then this equation will be E minus IR3 minus I1 R1 equal to 0. I'll solve for I1 in terms of I minus I2, I'll write it. Then I'll get expression for I in terms of I2. That I'm going to substitute here. So this should be E equal to minus IR3. I1 will be EIR3 minus IR1 plus I2R1 equal to 0. So replacing the I2 I should replace, no? I1 I replace with, yeah, fine. And this I should replace, so this I will be E plus I2 R2 by R1 plus R3. I think we know all the values, huh? So rather than making problem. This equation will be, what is E? E is 12. Let me substitute value, it become lengthy. This will be 3I. Self-inductance, let me write L only. di2 by dt. R2 value 2 ohm. So 2 I2 equals 0. There's a one equation. So now solving this, E is how much? E is 12 plus I2. R1 is 2, so 2 I2 by R1 plus R3, 2 plus 3, 5. 12 by 5. Okay, now we are ready for this one. So substitute now equation 2 in 1 and eliminate I. Substitute 2 in 1, so the I will get eliminated, will get only in terms of I2 and dt. So then we can solve this one. So put 2 in 1. Let me take it here. Put 2 in 1. So this will be 12 minus 3, 12 by 5 plus 2I2 by 5 di2 by dt, 2I2 equal to 0. So this 12 minus 36 by 5, 6I2 by 5 minus 2I2 minus di2 by dt. 60 minus, this will be 24 by 5, 5 2 is 10, 16 I2 by 5 equal to L di2 by dt. Solving for this, we'll get equation for the current I2. So 24 minus 16 I2 5L di2 by dt. L value later on will substitute because 400 milli, or this will become 0.4. Am I right? 0.4. 0.4 into 5 will be 2. So now we'll integrate this 0 to t, 0 to I2. 1 by 16 log of minus 1 by 16 log of 24 minus 16 I2, 0 to I2 by t by 2. Okay, I think this is similar to what we did in capacitor. Please, you have to recollect the ideas of capacitor. There Q by C, here L di by dt. There's only difference. Almost the same set of numericals will come, steady state at t equals 0. So the same mathematics you are coming, the same methods also, the same tricks also you are going to see now. Another alternative method will show what we did in capacitor, the RC circuit. The same thing I'm going to apply here. Now solving this will be log of 24 minus 16I2 will be 8t. So this will become I2 is equal to 24 minus e to power of 8t by 16. This is the expression for current as a function of time. So like this, I'll get a current in the, what is the direction and magnitude of current through the R1 as a function of time. So he's asking R1. Okay, let's analyze. This is the initial part. I got I2. After getting I2, I'll substitute that I2 here. I'll get I. After getting I, I'll get I1. Now the very good questions is asking us. So these are the B. I'm interested only in this B and D. Please look at these 2 points. So how to calculate now? 24 I'll take. Okay, one more 24 will come here, no? By 24. Yeah, yeah. Okay. I'll do correction, no? So this should be substituting this by 24. So I2 is equal to, okay, no? So we'll make the correction. So anybody final value will be 1 minus 16 by 4.
3 by 2 into 1
3 by
minus
2 into 1 minus e to the power of minus 8.
Anyone?
3 by 2 into,
3 by 2, huh?
yes sir, 3 by 2 bracket 1 minus e power minus 8t.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you. Then now, okay, this value of I2, I'll substitute. This is equation 3. We'll put 3 in the into, I'll get expression for I. Then I know I and I2, I'll get the I1. Or directly, what is here? We know I. Substituting this, we'll get expression for I1. How the I1 will flow? I1 is a constant or variable? That's what I wanted to ask you. I1 will be variable. How do I can say? So let me take help of this equation. We know I is equal to I1 plus I2. There's a very basic fundamental problem. And from equation 2, so let me eliminate I. So this will be 12 by 5 plus 2 by 5. I2 equal to I1 plus I2. And I know value of I2. I'll substitute here. Then I'll get expression for I1. So this, if I send on to this side, it will be 12 by 5 minus 3 by 5. Now substitute the value of I2 here. We'll get I1 as a function of time, not a constant. This is very important. Sir, there's no inductor. A constant current should flow. No, the potential difference here, the current through the coil will be varying. Here also will be varying. Okay, no, this one. So let's write an expression for I1. So this I1 will be 3 by 5, 3 by 2, so 9 by 10. Look at now this current through that branch, will it be a constant? The answer is no. I think I can show only this much. So the current here is a varying current flows here. So I'll write the comment here only. No, so we got I1 positive. So therefore, which will be at higher potential, VA or VE, VB or VE?
V.
VB. So here nearby circuit to write it. Okay, agree this. This much is there. Okay, now let's come for this. After a long time, what happened to current in all the branches will remain constant. Will I agree? So what is the current in I2, I1, I? All will remain constant. So first you put T equal to infinity. What is the current through the inductor? 3/2 ampere. Then if put T equal to infinity, put T equal to infinity here, then how much of current in I1? That also will be constant. Then I1, I2 are constant. Then I will be constant. So at T equal to infinity, the same circuit. At T equal to infinity, I'll proceed here now. There's a very basic problem. That's why I'm just giving all things in detail. Okay, now let's come for this. At T equal to infinity, how the circuit will appear. R2, R1, this is R3, and this is switch. This is B, this is E. And the current were constant, so let me use capital letters to show that. So what is I2 value? So 3/2 ampere. What about I1 value? Put T equal to infinity. How much?
3/2.
Here also I1?
Sir.
12/9. So this is I1, this is I. How much of I? I will be 3 ampere. Now based on the data given, I'm just writing this much here. This is at T equal to infinity. So what is the energy stored in the inductor? There'll be some energy will be stored in the inductor. This one, I want this energy stored in the inductor, U infinity. So U infinity should be equal to L I2 whole square by 2. So the value of L we know. Okay, let's have, this is some energy here. Now I'll open the switch. And I'm very sure that VB greater than V. Now I'll open the switch. At a steady state, the switch is opened. So when the switch is open, what conditions will prevail? The battery will be cut off from the circuit. What direction the current in the circuit and various parts is going to flow? I think yesterday I gave some idea of how to get that. So because of switch open now, switch S is open and there's a resistor. So the resistor R3 and E will be cut off from the circuit. No, it's of no use of in the same. So only the current can flow in this loop. And this is B and this is A. How to get the direction of current in this circuit now? Switch is S opened at steady state. Switch S is opened at steady state. I'll open it. Now, how to predict the direction of current? Can you remember yesterday? Once again, I'll put it because in the end I discussed. Some of you still you assume a ring. You assume a ring. Any direction. So there's a ring. One turn in the, because what is a solenoid? Solenoid is made up of similar to like a rings, no? And let it be in any current. Let it flow in clockwise or anti-clockwise. So I'll assume that the current I2 is flowing clockwise. I'll stand here and I'll see that current is clockwise. Sir, what about anti-clockwise? Let it be anti-clockwise. Any arbitrary direction, either clockwise or anti-clockwise, you assume it. Then if a current, and there's a one turn of solenoid I'm showing. This is the, or you can say side wave or one turn of solenoid. How the magnetic field will be into the plane because of this current I2 flowing through the coil at steady state. Now here suddenly what happens when I switch open, there won't be battery to support this current I2. Is it okay? When switch S is open, the battery is cut off from the circuit, so there won't be cell to support this current I2. Then what happens to the flux across the coil? Starts collapsing. Then from Faraday's law, what is the flux? Flux is negative. Negative flux decreases. d phi by dt will be positive. EMF induced negative. So how the induced current should flow now? The induced current should flow clockwise. So in what direction I should put induced current? Is that okay, all of you? That how is the induced current? How it should flow? In the direction of steady state current. So therefore the induced current will flow like this. Now the inductor will behave like a cell. Inductor will behave like a cell. Now look at now which is at higher potential, VB or VE? VE is at higher potential. Able to note it out because the current I2 will flow like this. Or I'll show I2 here. Earlier the current through the resistor was flowing from B to E. Now it is flowing from E to B. Now VE will be greater than VB. Potential at E will be greater than B once the switch is open. So only at steady state this happens? No. Before reaching steady state also, you can open switch. In that case, what happens? The energy in the inductor, you should calculate at that instant. I should not write I2, capital I2. Current at that instant which is flowing, no, that will determine. So don't think that only at steady state this can happen. At any instant of time, you can open this switch. Then at that instant, what current that was flowing through the inductor, and with that energy open, it will set up a current here. So what is the direction of this I2 now? In the direction of the initial current that was flowing through the coil. Will I agree? I think you should not make a guess here. From Faraday's law, we should analyze here. So this is like a now decay current. So what is the expression for I2? Yesterday I derived it. Now the potential will be EB. Now what all energy that was there in the coil, who will share the resistors? So this U infinity H1 plus H2 should be equal to how much? U infinity. Then we know H1 by H2. If the resistors are in series, are in series, then what is the total current? The same current will flow. Then the total heat generated in the resistors are, try to see this. This again one more important idea I'm putting. What all the total heat, what all the total energy that was there in the coil will be shared by these two resistors. Then when the two resistors are in series, what is the ratio of power dissipated? It should be the ratio of the resistance P1 by P2 should be equal to R1 by R2. That I'm writing it. No need to integrate. That you can work out here. Then what is the ratio of heat generate? What is H1? Substitute here. H2 in terms of this. H2 what you can write it as? H1 R2 by R1. So what is H1 equal to? U infinity R1 by R1 plus R2. Similarly, what is H2? U infinity R2 by R1 plus R2. So you can directly, no need to integrate. Take help of this thing. So when they're parallel, then what happens? H1 by H2 will be R1, R2 by R1. Go back to Ohm's law, series parallel, very important. Here the two resistors are in series. How you can see series, same current flows here. Okay, this the direction of current to the resistor R1 is something very important. It will change it. Earlier, it was flowing from B to E. Now it will flow in the, so I think this is some other current, steady. Okay, this is, let it be I2 dash alcohol. Don't get confused with that. Okay, there's a basic theory. Can we find out this by any other method? Means like, sir, it's something very lengthy. Means this part is very lengthy. So again, the same thing. At steady state, find out the current through the inductor, and that will be here. You can bring it here. Then how to calculate time constant of circuit? Where all cell is there, replace with short circuit. Then find out the effective resistance. So will be R1 parallel to R3. That effective will become in series. That the effective resistance as seen by inductor. Then time constant L by R. L by effective resistance. What we did earlier in RC circuit, you can apply here also. Directly you can write this equation. Once you know this equation and somehow you write this, you'll get I1. So we need not to, we can avoid all this integration part. Take back the RC circuit concept. Okay, no, so these are the some conditions which I brought it here. Okay, we'll discuss the mutual inductance because time only half an hour is there. Okay, let's come for the basic. So let there be a current through the solenoid. One, let it be I1, and the current through the second solenoid, let it be I2. For first, let me send a current through the solenoid 1. So let's have two diagrams. Oh, this is the axis of solenoid, common axis of the solenoid. Let's come for this. I'll pass a current I1 through the solenoid. So number of turns, are you seeing green color and red color, black color? So one solenoid is placed inside the other solenoid. If you see the cross-sectional view, means the from the axis, if you see it, no, you can see this solenoid and other one is here. Better take help of like this one. The radius of this is R1, the radius of this is R2. Number of turns here N1, here number of turns are N2. Now where is initially, I'll send current I1 through this solenoid. So let's calculate the flux linking the other solenoid. So what is the magnetic field produced by this solenoid? Where do it produce magnetic field? Only inside its first solenoid only, no? Because what is the, if a current I flows through solenoid, what is the magnetic field outside the solenoid? Will be zero. Go back to solenoid idea. If a current I flows inside a solenoid, where the magnetic field will present? It will present only inside. So I'll show with this one green color. So it will produce field only inside the solenoid. So, and that is what B1. So what is the value of B1? B1 will be mu naught N1 I1. So what is the flux linking the other solenoid? This is the total magnetic field produced here. What is the flux linking the other solenoid? Phi 2 should be equal to, how many turns are there for other solenoid? N2 turns. This N2 further number of turns, we can write like this. Later on I write N2 into L. So timing, this one. Into, so there's a number of turns linking the solenoid into what is the radius of the second solenoid, R2 square into B1. Or shall I write R1 square? What is the flux linking the solenoid? What is phi 2? Flux linking the second solenoid. So what should be the equation we should write it? Pi R1 square or pi R2 square? Pi R1 square, no? Because what is the effective flux? B1 into pi R1 square only it is. Flux linking the second solenoid. So this should be the R1 only. B1 is what? Field produced by the first solenoid. What is flux linking? I'll write down the terms. Yes. Flux linking solenoid 2. So what is B1? So further N2 what I can write? N2L pi R. Why this pi R1 square? Because where the magnetic field is present, only here, effective area. Can you remember the idea of effective area? I'll put in bracket. N2 into effective area, B1 into effective area. Effective area will be pi R1 square, not pi R2 square. Because the B bar is confined only to circular region of radius R1. So this should be equal to N2 pi R1 square mu naught N1 into I1. Let me bring that term phi 2 by R1. Flux linking the second coil due to current in the first coil. So this should be mu naught N1 into pi R1 square. Keep it here. Into L. Let's come for this. I'll pass a current in the second solenoid. Then what is the magnetic field produced by the second solenoid? N2 I2. Then how much of flux will link the first solenoid? So the circuit diagram will be like this. This is the outer solenoid. Number of turns of this is N2 and the inner solenoid is here. Where all the magnetic field will produce by this, and this is R1 and the current I2 is flowing. Now what about the field produced by the second solenoid? Where it will be throughout, no? Everywhere here. It will present inside the solenoid and also the external to the solenoid. It some B bar, some amount of flux will be there inside the solenoid 1 and also external to solenoid 1. But here there should not be any field. Am I right? If a current I2 flows, where current I2, I'll make it to flow in outer solenoid. Then I'll calculate flux linking the inner solenoid. So, phi 1. Now, how many turns are there? N1 turns into, what shall I write here? B2 into pi R1 square only, no? Because see, magnetic field is present outside the first solenoid also, but I want how much of flux linking the inner solenoid. So what is phi 1 I should call? Flux linking solenoid 1. So let's substitute all these things. So this should be equal to N1. N1 will be N1 into L. B2 will be mu naught N2 I2 pi R1 square. I'm interested in this quantity. Mu naught N1 N2 pi R1 square L. Now look at this. The ratio of flux linking in the second solenoid to the current in the first solenoid. I'm getting value. The ratio of flux linking to the first solenoid due to current in the second solenoid. I'm getting this value. This ratio will be constant. No. I'll do one thing. I'll send a variable current in the first solenoid. I'll send a variable current. Then flux linking second solenoid will vary d phi by 2 by dt, and there'll be some EMF will be induced. No, so let me differentiate this. If I differentiate this, d phi 2 by dt, d1 by dt, I'll end up this mm to 1 flux linking the mutual in, I'll call that particular constant as mutual inductance. Similarly, I'll differentiate this. What is d phi by 2 by dt? Shall we call that as EMF induced in the second solenoid due to varying current in the first solenoid? This is again, you check the advanced, no? The total EMI chapter. So what is very important? Mutual inductance. Very small topic, very limited ideas, and very easy also. And the entire, what happened, EMI chapter, the first priority should be mutual inductance. Then comes Faraday's law, Lenz's law. Then induced electric field. Then comes motional EMF, rotational EMF. You have to practice some set of numericals, some around 10 or 12 numericals. When you practice, you'll be in better position. So this, I'll write it as now E2 by this will be E1 by where this M I'll call mutual inductance. If I send a varying current in inner solenoid, if I send a varying current in the inner solenoid, it will induce EMF in the outer solenoid. Shall I say it will induce, and the ratio of EMF induced in the second coil to the current in first coil, there'll be a constant. I'll call that as mutual inductance, where M1 mutual inductance of solenoids, and it will be constant. It depends upon mu naught n1 n2 radius of that one. It is independent of radius of outer solenoid. So there's one more quantity I'm bringing. So how you define mutual inductance? It's a ratio of EMF induced in the second coil to the current varying in the first coil. So that particular ratio will be constant, and its mutual inductance, it depends upon only the physical dimensions. And for any type of current carrying structure, these two will be equal and opposite, or these two will be equal. M12 will be equal M21. It's a generalized one. Huh? Don't think that's like I'll bring wire and solenoid will be same. For any two current carrying structures, M12 should be equal to M21. So how you define mutual inductance? How you define mutual inductance? Is defined as ratio of EMF induced in one coil to the varying current in other coil. So there are two coils will be there. So E2 by di1 by dt or E1 by di2 by dt. So like this, we define a quantity called as mutual. What should be the unit for this? Henry only. Again, you see, similar to self-inductance here. So like this, we'll introduce this mutual inductance. So let's take one more example. This I took solenoid. You find little bit difficult, that area all. So let me go for a generalized example. So let me take a two coils. So there's a coil 1. Let number of turns be n1, n2, separation between them be x. The radii of the coils, let it be Okay, this is for our convenient. I just brought a rod, nothing to do with the problem, just to show to get the direction of current clearly. Is it okay? No, that red color lines is only for this axis. Huh? Now, let me send here a varying current. I1 equal to I0 t. Then it's like a current carrying ring. It will produce magnetic field at this particular point in what direction? Will be in this direction. B1. So what is the expression for B1? B1 equal to mu naught N1 A square by 2 A square plus X square to the power of 3 by 2. Can you remember this formula? Magnetic field on the axis of the ring. Put X equals 0. It should be mu naught N1. Current I1 is there, no? So this I1 is. This is the expression for magnetic field on the axis of the conductor. Now, any flux linking the second ring? Flux linking the second ring or coil 2, anything you can write it. Ring 2 will write it. So this should be phi 2. So what should be the phi 2? Number of turns B2 into pi B square. Let me write here into what is, okay, B1. No? B1 will be mu naught N1 A square I1 by now how you define mutual inductance between them? Mutual inductance, what is the basic definition? Should be equal to flux linking the coil 2 due to current in the first coil. Is that okay? So this should be equal to mu naught N1 N2 pi A square B square by 2 A square X to square to the power of 3 by 2. Means, sir, I'll send current in the second coil. Can you calculate the flux linking this as we can calculate? But here what when we assumed it, now one very best question you can ask it. Where is the B bar? B bar at the center of this ring, no? And what about B bar just somewhere here? Should be different. But still what I assumed as if B bar everywhere inside the ring is constant, but practically will not happen. So what is the basic assumption we made it here? We just made a condition that B will be very much less than X. So what you calculate B bar at the center of the ring 2, it will be same everywhere at all points. Everywhere at all points. That one assumption is what we made it. So I'll introducing that condition. Otherwise, not possible. B bar is at the center of the ring is what we calculated this B1. So at half the center, the B bar will be different. If I put a condition B very much less than X, then what is the value of B bar at center of the ring 2? It will be same everywhere B1. So therefore, I'm able to write this equation. This is a mutual inductance. Means, sir, I'll now you look at this, whether you send increasing current, constant current, or decreasing current, what is the mutual inductance? It depends on number of turns, radii, and the distance between them. As you increase the distance between them, mutual inductance decreases. Okay, fine. So can we calculate the direction of induced current? This will be very important for you. How to predict direction of induced current. So let there be a person. You take help of Lenz's law again. B bar produced by the ring 1 at this location will be out of the plane. No? So what this person says, flux linking the second ring will be, so B bar is positive because B1 is out of the plane. You are standing here. Then current is increasing, I1 increasing. So B1 increases, area constant or loop constant. So flux will be increasing. D phi 2 by dt will be positive. Positive flux in d phi 2 and EMF induced will be negative. How the induced current according to them should flow in this direction. Is it okay? How to predict the direction of induced current? how to get this I2? How to get this I2? I want this I2. How to predict? I'll take help of same formula. So let me use the formula. So what is that? EMF induced. Let R be the resistance of this. R1 be the resistance of this. What are R1, R2? R2 is resistance of second ring. Now I know EMF induced. I know this mutual inductance. Can I write like this? E2 is equal to, or say the mutual inductance M is equal to E2 into di1 by dt. I know mutual inductance, the value this much, and I'll get the E2. What is di1 by dt? Is I0, no? Then what is E2 is equal to M I0. Then what is I2? I2 should be equal to what is M? M depends on these things. So irrespective of what is the nature of current, increasing current, decreasing current, or even constant current, mutual inductance depends on physical parameters. It's independent of nature of current flowing through the coils or through the rings, through the current carrying structures. Sir, now you can tell me. I will assume a current in the second ring. Then I'll calculate flux linking the first ring. Then flux linking the first ring due to current in the second ring. Will I get same thing? Yes, it will be. But we cannot determine. Practically, I can verify it. But theoretically, not possible. The reason for that, if you send a current I1 here, it will produce a field, no doubt. But where this A is not negligible, no, is a bigger ring. And because of that, the B bar will be different. Mathematically, we cannot prove that, but theoretically, it's very easier. I'll send a varying current. I'll calculate EMF induced. Then EMF induced in this by the varying current. I'll check it. I'll get mutual inductance. Similarly, I'll send a varying current here, some other current. I'll calculate what is EMF induced in this loop. When I again take ratio E1 by I2, again I'll get the same value. So this shows that this is a universal. Earlier I took solenoid, here I took ring. This is a universal between any two current carrying structures, mutual. I'm saying that one. Flux linking second coil to the current in first coil is equal to flux linking the first coil to the current in second coil. Mathematically, sometimes one of the thing we may not prove, but it's a proven that one. So you need to bother. So how to calculate that current I2? So there's a method. How much of current will be induced here? So you can calculate this particular thing. So there's a very popular problem. Sometimes this one you get plenty of very, very good questions. It's an unlimited topic again here also. A mutual inductance between what? Between any two structures. Means any two structures means I'll take next example. Let this be a long wire. And there's a loop. I'll ask you what is the EMF induced. So the current here, let it vary with time like this, I naught t. Let the R be the resistance of this loop. Let the side length of the loop, let it be A. And let lambda be the resistance per unit length of the square loop. Lambda is now I want what is the current flowing in this square loop. Find I kept it nearby here, no? So for this, what happened if I know mutual inductance? This structure I'll call 1, this is 2. So what is the formula? E2 should be equal to, or say mutual inductance, M should be equal to E2 into di1 by dt. So if I know E2, then I can calculate the current. So what is I2 is equal to? I2 equal to E by resistance R2. E2. What is the resistance R? Lambda into 4A. So somehow I should get E2. I know di1 by dt. What is di1 by dt is I naught. So what is the end everything now? M I naught. So therefore this current I2 should be equal to how much? M I naught by lambda 4A. But we don't know M, no? How to calculate mutual inductance? Again, the flux linking the second coil due to the current in the the first structure. So there's a long wire. I'll assume I think we all know how to calculate flux here. D phi you take it. So let it be at a distance x. This is dx. D phi 2. Flux linking the strip d phi 2 should be equal to B1 into A dx elemental structure. What is B1? Mu naught I1 mu naught I1 by 2 pi x L A dx. Mu naught I1 L 2 pi A to 2A. So this will be mu naught I1 LA by 2 pi log 2. How you define mutual inductance? This M, flux linking the second coil to the current in the long wire. Di1 by dt. Yeah. Okay, this is I think. So what is I1? I1 equal to I naught T. So that they should be equal to mu naught LA 2 pi log 2. That I'll substitute here. I'll get the current in the loop. So what is value of I2? I2 should be equal to mu naught LA log 2, this I naught by lambda 4A. Just I'll get back this one. Some screen I only closed it. We are here. No? Okay, this should be the M1. I got it. So now can I calculate the value of I2? Solving this, we'll get the required thing. So here A will get cancelled out. We know lambda, we know I naught. So we'll get the current in the loop here. In what direction the current should flow? Whatever the flow of direction of flow of current. Current is increasing, negative flux increases, define negative EMF induced positive. So the current I2 should flow anti-clockwise. You have to further simplify. I just left it here. So like this, what happens? We can find out with the help of mutual inductance very easy. No, you do one thing. Take out this mutual inductance. Okay? Is there any other alternative method? Please try to analyze. It will be much easier for you. You'll come to know what is use of this mutual inductance. This will be, final answer will be mu naught log 2. A will get cancelled. L I naught by 8 pi lambda. A will get eliminated, only A. So this is the current I2. The same thing can you find out by any other method? Nothing but I should calculate the flux as a function of time here, then I should differentiate. This will be much easier, no? So what it will suggest you, like, irrespective of this current, you know some mutual inductance. Now, what is that current here, no? So if you can get, if you know this value of M, it'll be quite easy for you, no? So to get that E2, what you should do? E2 equal to M into di1 by dt. So like that for pair of current carrying structures, what I do, I'll calculate mutual inductance so that the calculations part will be easy. Now you think in other way. I'll push a current I in the loop. Can I find out flux linking the wire? Not possible, but this will help us. Means I'll send a varying current. Then a varying current in a loop. Then how much of current will flow in long wire? Can we calculate? There's no other alternate method except mutual inductance. What is the nature of current that I'm going to send in a loop? I know it. Then E1 is equal to what I can write? M into di2 by dt. How much of this I took in other way. So we can also analyze here. I'll send a varying current. Then I'll ask you how much of current is induced in the long wire. So there's no other way we should come to mutual inductance. Like this, the mutual inductance will really help us in some very complicated cases. One example is what I shown here now. If you send a varying current in the square loop, how much of current will flow in long wire? We cannot find out. Mutual inductance I can find out. So what I do, E1 equal to M di2 by dt. Problem solved. I'll come to know how much of, I know resistance of this wire. From that I'll calculate the how much of current. Okay, tomorrow we'll continue from here. Thank you all of you. Okay, thank you all of you. Take care, bye, see you.